Hello and welcome to my second tutorial video. This time I will be talking about strategy. I will firstly go through some fundamentals about strategy, then talk about how to make your own strategies, and for part 2 of this topic, I will make another video about common build orders. Hopefully by the end of these videos, you will know some common strategies and will be able to make up your own strategies on the fly. Without further ado, let's get started. The most important thing about strategy is to actually have a plan. And by that, I mean that you should always have an idea of what you want to do and how you want to do it. Knowing what you want to do lets you plan your economy, so you ideally never have to wait for resources or have excessive resources that you can't spend. This in turn makes you play faster and gives your armies more potential. Here are 2 things to take into account when making a strategy: the civilizations and scouting. If you have absolutely no idea of what to do with your civ, ask for a pause and check the tech tree. Well, at the tech tree, this is what you will be looking for: bonuses, available units and upgrades, and lastly, unique units. First, look at the bonuses. The bonuses are unique for your own civilization, and they always are a good indicator of what to make with your civ. After that, look at the upgrades for your units, both in the military buildings and the blacksmith. Most civs have upgrades that matches their bonuses, but some have good bonuses but lack upgrades, which is something to look out for. Lastly, look at the unique units. The unique units can be very strong, but they are also circumstantial. They all behave differently, and you will have to learn how each one of them performs in different situations. Most of them also produce slower due to having to make them from a castle. Therefore, I wouldn't recommend you to make unique units as your go-to strategy unless you know how to use them. Just because you have a unique unit or a bonus doesn't mean that it always makes sense for you to go for that strategy. Here's an example in which we will be playing as the Vietnamese and our opponents will be the Franks. First, we'll look at the bonuses of the Vietnamese. And the bonuses are: reveal enemy positions at game start. Archery range units have extra HP, free conscription, team bonus, and team bonus applied to the whole team and in 1v1s. And their team bonuses is that they have access to Imperial Skirmisher. The bonuses suggest that archers, skirms and cav archers are a viable strategy. To have the enemy townsends revealed would also simplify for a rushing strategy. Next, we look at the upgrades for those units, where we can see that almost everything is available to us, which means that our archers will be viable throughout the whole game. Lastly, the unique unit is an archer unit with extra armor, in which the extra HP bonus from the archer range units do not apply. So we have stronger archers than the average archer, and we have all the archer technologies available to us, so that will be our go-to strategy in this game. But when making our own plan, we also have to take into account what our opponent will be making. If we don't watch out, we might play right into his hands. We have to consider his strengths and his weaknesses, and how to incorporate those into our own plan. So let's take a look at the enemy tech tree. The Franks have cheaper castles, more HP for their cavalry units, farm upgrades are free, foragers work faster, and their team bonus is nice to have extra line of sight. The bonuses promote the Frankish player for going cavalry. Not only does the cavalry get extra HP and have all the technologies in the blacksmith, but they also have an eco bonus, or 2 eco bonuses in fact, that aid this build. This could spell disaster for our own plan, seeing that knights can be a good counter to archers. However, knights are not available until the castle age, and that's also where he will be getting the full effect of his eco bonuses. Thus, if we can attack him with our archers before we get overwhelmed with knights, we stand a better chance. But before we make up our minds, we should consider scouting. Our opponent might have an easy to defend map, where the archers might run into walls and be completely useless. In such case, we would have to reconsider our strategy. Our opponent might also have a terrible map and decide to go aggressively in feudal. As you can see in this case, our opponent has a semi-open map, and he could wall it off with a bit of effort. It might be a good idea to linger with the scout here to see what he decides to do, or if he decides to put up any military buildings. No matter our strategy, we have about 8 to 9 minutes before our strategies drastically changed our economy. Try to find out as much information as you can before you make up your mind. But let's say in this case that we decide to go for an archer rush. Splendid, we have a plan. Here's what we're trying to achieve with that plan. Reaching feudal age fast, making a bunch of archers, and harassing the enemy with those bunch of archers before we get stumped by his knights. For this we're going to need an economy to support constant villager production, roughly 1,000 wood for the required buildings and a bunch of houses, 500 food for the feudal age technology, and an economy to support production from 2 archery ranges at the same time. This might sound like an overwhelming math problem, but rest assured that you don't exactly need a calculator to figure this stuff out. It is a matter of forward thinking and balancing your economy. For example, instead of realizing when you click something that you don't have enough resources, try to think one step ahead. For example, firstly you will need a lot of food, 500 food for the feudal age technology, but right after that you will in short need a lot of wood. For a barracks, 2 archery ranges, some houses and a mining camp, it does make sense to transition most of your food collectors to immediately start collecting wood. Another example of forward thinking is making a barracks already in the Dark Age, so that you can immediately put down an archery range when you reach the feudal age. Thus you save approximately 30 seconds of the time it will take your archers to reach the enemy. Once you finally reach the feudal age and put down your archery ranges, it is time to pump out some archers. But for this you will need an economy to support it. In other words, you will need 25 wood and 45 gold roughly every 30 seconds for every archery range. So how many villages do you need on each resource? Again, you don't need to make this a math problem. I'll teach you the technique I use. Take the cost of any unit and divide each resource by the number 10. The result is the amount of villages required for that resource to be able to afford a new unit before the other one is created. This way, you'll have just enough what you need, and you don't need to waste time waiting for the resource to be collected. In case of the archers, which cost 25 wood and 45 gold, you will need 3 villagers on wood and 5 villagers on gold. If you want to produce from 2 archer ranges, simply double that amount of villagers. You can apply the same methods for knights. Knights cost 60 food and 75 gold, thus you would need 6 or 7 villagers on food and 8 villagers on gold. In case you don't have enough resources in time, simply add another villager. This works because it takes roughly the same time for a villager to collect 10 resources as it does to create a unit. Of course, this number might change over time due to bonuses and upgrades, but it is a good ground for which to stand on and plan your strategies from. But if you're looking to become quicker and stronger, you should try and learn and perfect some build orders. Build orders are blueprints for strategies. They tell you the optimal number of villagers on what resource and when, as well as what to build and when to build. Build orders help you become much faster, and it adds routine to your gameplay, which helps you from not getting housed or forgetting villagers. If you always try to do the same things, you're less likely to forget them. But build orders are the topic for the next video. Feel free to drop a like and share this video with your friends if you've enjoyed it. I wish you good luck in your own games, and bye for now.